Ready?
Cool.
All right, great. Thank you, Amit, for taking the time to be part of the personal branding series, which I run on my blog. I've been following your work quite extensively. In fact, I like the fact that you call yourself a reputation engineer. And I know that you have been running India's first weekend, PR event for the community for many, many years. Quite also fascinated by the fact that you have reinvented yourself and now you're a dean of a communication PR school. So I think you're best suited for this series. So before we get started, if you could kindly introduce yourself for our viewers.
Right, you already introduced me and said the things I would have said, but I'll say it again. And to your point on reputation engineer, that's a thing I created earlier this year. It was not nothing to do with personal branding. It was more a take on a lot of people misusing the word spin doctor in the context of referring to PR.
Got it.
I felt the opposite of spin is reputation. The opposite of doctor in the traditional sense of famous Indian professions is an engineer. Because most
Right.
parents who wanted their children back in the 80s and 90s to get into science said become a doctor or an engineer.
Right.
If you're a doctor, you did biology in 11th and 12th. If you
Yeah.
chose to be in engineering, you did PCM, physics, chemistry, maths.
Right.
I did neither. My mother had dreamt that she would have me become a doctor. That never happened. But I said this year, I'm going to use this word just to create curiosity and make people ask me. And many people have asked me this question, why reputation engineer? And I just want to drive home the point that reputation engineer is a person who is the opposite of a spin doctor, where
Right.
reputation engineering is based on ethics, is based on doing the right things in the world of public relations and communications in many ways. So that's my short mnemonic, if you may let me call it. And yes, you rightly pointed out, I've reinvented myself many times because I love doing it. And again, it doesn't have any linkage to the idea of personal branding. I do three things. My day job is I run a school of PR with a bunch of partners, colleagues, mentors.
Right.
That's called the School of Communications and Reputation. I happen to be the first dean when we set up 4 years ago. I've actually
Mm-hmm.
handed over most of the work to a partner of mine called Hemant. So I call
Mm-hmm.
myself founding dean now.
Okay.
I run Praxis and four other conferences throughout the year for the communications fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
And I help in the creation of this website and print magazine for PR professionals called Reputation Today. These are three
Okay.
things I do primarily on a day-to-day basis in the space of public relations and communications.
Fantastic. So let me begin by asking you, how do you define personal branding? What's your understanding of it?
Right. So personal branding is usually done by two sets of people. One is
Mm-hmm.
people who either have become or want to become celebrities. One is people who want to be known for a specific thing that they are good at. And I think the best way to do personal branding, in my opinion, is the two C's, consistency and causes. So
Mm-hmm.
one part of personal branding is to be consistent with what you do. And the
Mm-hmm.
second, espouse a cause that you feel that is close to your heart, and you're able to drive a lot of conversations towards and around that cause. So that's the first
Mm-hmm.
part of personal branding, and the second part is to let the world know about it. And the easiest way to do that is through social media today, and let the world know your consistency and the causes you espouse.
Got it. Brilliant. I think, and so I know that you may not like to be called a personal brand, but if you, I mean, going by the assumption that you are one, if I were to ask you, how do you know what are some of those signs which tell you that you are progressing on that journey?
Right. So the reason I don't like to call myself one, which I've mentioned to you earlier as well, is because I've never done anything with the intent of being a personal brand. And I know there are people who do that with that intent. That could be the reason. And the
Mm.
second is I've always had an attitude that more like a devil may care attitude. Like I don't care whether I'm doing certain things for a certain reason, as long as I'm doing the right thing and gives me a good night's rest at the end of the day. That's what my belief has been. But yeah,
Mm.
I think somebody is doing certain things to build a personal brand when you see that person doing certain things consistently and in a manner that you would not have seen him or her do it otherwise. So
Mm.
that's one way. And as we talk along, maybe we'll pick up a couple of examples and share how those things come into play in real life.
Got it. And how do you go about building a personal brand? What are some of those steps which you can articulate?
Right. So, like I mentioned earlier, I think the first step I would do if I had to build a personal brand is to find mentors.
Mhm.
And it's important to have one or two mentors, at least maybe three at the most, and not more. Two to three is a good number. Because sometimes if one mentor is telling you certain things, you may think that is right. A second mentor tells you the same thing, it's validation. If the second mentor
Mhm.
tells you something else, it's good to have a third mentor to see the middle ground. If the third mentor tells you
Mhm.
something else altogether, then it's difficult. But
Mhm.
typically, I've known people who have two to three mentors and they find a middle ground with these two to three mentors that they talk to.
Got it.
And that's one way to start off. And then,
Mhm.
yes, on your own, without the mentor's intervention, you can
Mhm.
pick up a cause dear to you. You can be
Mhm.
consistent about supporting that cause and then build on that in the way you can.
Got it. Got it. So, what are some of the attributes, according to you, of a personal brand? And how do people? What are some of those keywords people relate to your personal brand in that sense?
Right. So there are two spaces or two areas in personal branding, I think. One
Mm-hmm.
is what a person sees, your
Mm-hmm.
physical appearance, the way you dress, the way you groom yourself.
Mm-hmm.
One is when they can't see you, when they can just hear your voice, or they
Mm-hmm.
can just read something you have said, or when they can just hear about something you have done or said in the past. So there
Right.
are two parts. So one is the seen, one is the unseen. And I think most personal brands or people who build themselves around this personal branding proposition create
Mm-hmm.
both. They create a sense of personal presence and they create a sense of what one would hear or see in their absence as well. So it's a mix of the two that come together.
Got it. Got it. Brilliant. And who, according to you, are personal brands? I mean, whom do you admire?
So there are two sets of personal brands that I look at from the light of this whole concept. And one set I never thought of them as personal brands was because you reached out to me with this whole personal branding idea, and
Mm-hmm.
I knew one of the questions would be this example. I thought a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always looked at this famous couple in the United States, Barack and Michelle Obama, as
Mm-hmm.
personal brands, both as individuals and as a couple,
Mm-hmm.
and as public figures as well. And I think they've done a lot of things consistently right in the way they have positioned themselves before 2008, before they got into the White House, and during
Mm-hmm.
and after as well. That's in
Got it.
the in the big world, and there are millions of personal brands across the world, especially in sport, in film, cinema, and in the
Mm-hmm.
world of politics and business as well. In these four areas,
Mm-hmm.
my own personal journey, if I look back to the early years of my life, the first 20 years of my life, I think my parents, in their own way, without even thinking of being personal brands back in the day when there was no internet and there was no personal branding as a concept, they were in their own ways personal brands because they had their own set of I would say, well-wishers to whom
Mm-hmm.
they did good, and I think my father was a college professor in a town half an hour's 1 hour's drive from Mangalore, and he
Mm-hmm.
realized early on that there were a lot of students who came to college from poor backgrounds who couldn't afford an afternoon meal.
Mm-hmm.
Early on, he built a kind of concept to offer weekday meals to a bunch of students in the college canteen. And I
Mm-hmm.
think without his knowledge, he became a personal brand because when I met some people later in life who happened to be students, they would say, "Oh, you're his son. He was the man who fed me. He was the man who gave me my lunch during my 3 years of my undergrad degree days,"
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. And same goes with my mother. My mother didn't earn too much of salary. I think it was in a few less than 10,000 rupees a month back in the 90s. And she
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of younger colleagues who were either getting married or having a child or getting a child admission, and they always had a need for money. And my mother became almost like a personal financer. She would give small loans of 5, 10,000 rupees from time to time, almost interest-free loans that people would borrow for 3, 4 months and then pay back in some form. So I think in their own ways, they became my idols of doing what I do today, and in the ways they did it back then. And I think I would look at them as personal brands in small ways. Yeah, so in the completely non-celebrity, non-influential world versus the Obama example I gave you in the influential celebrity world.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that's great stories which you shared, and it's quite noble also the kind of the work which you mentioned. So if I were to reflect on your journey, I mean, because you started your career in PR, and then you did a short stint overseas, and what are some of the steps that were there some conscious steps that you took to say, okay, now this is what I want to do next, or this is how I want to shape my brand?
Right. There are two things I can recall that I did, and again, not with the intention of personal branding, but with the intention of getting to where I had to go. And I think this occurred to me in 2006 or 7, 2 years into my job. My director and professor at my master's program happened to invite me to the next institute he had joined when I was 2 years into PR, and asked me to do a kind of guest lecture there on my initial years of experience in the world of PR. And he introduced me to his students with a very interesting term which I had never thought of till then. He said, "This is Amit Prabhu. He's an organized go-getter." And that stuck with me ever since then. This was in 2006 or 7, and it's 13, 14 years since then. And I think that helped me say, okay, if somebody is thinking of me that way, I should start doing things to be an organized go-getter in more ways than one. And that remained with me. And two things I did right after that was I began to write in 2008. Close to 10-year gap. The last I remember writing actively was during my pre-university college days, like 11th and 12th. And then in undergrad, the writing habit began to kind of go down a bit, and then it stopped completely for almost 10 years. I think the master's degree program makes you write a lot of theory and textbook oriented things. The fun writing, the blogging, the writing on from a creative point of view just stopped. So in 2008 I began to write again, and I wrote consistently. I challenged myself to write one blog a week, and I realized in my 2 years of work after that, my own writing quality, and the clients noticed that when I was servicing them, that my writing quality of maybe press releases, maybe documents, maybe reports changed drastically. So I think writing is an important aspect in the communications business, and in general, writing is a good habit and a good way to form personal brand. And again, if I go back to the Obama example, I think Barack Obama built his brand on 2 books he wrote: The Audacity of Hope, based on a speech he gave in his early years at grassroots politics, and autobiographical work he wrote when he was a student of Harvard Law School called Dreams from My Father. I think writing makes a big difference to building of personal brands. Today we use short form in microblogging and write on tweets, write on Instagram posts, which is fine. But I think long form writing, writing essays, writing short stories, writing a collection of thoughts, or maybe semi-autobiographical work also is helpful in building a personal brand in the long term.
Fantastic. And what are some of the challenges that you face? So building a brand and sustaining it over time definitely takes a lot of hurdles, and you come across a lot of hurdles. What are some of the challenges, and what are some of the techniques you use to overcome them?
Right. So because you've told me to assume I'm a personal brand, I'm going to that line of thinking on those lines. So I never thought of myself as a personal brand. So there never was an urge to do certain things in a certain way. So therefore never challenges in that sense. But if you look at it more academically, I think somebody who wants to build a personal brand will always have critics. There'll always be people who hate you or love you. There'll always be people who will want to either give you unsolicited advice or want to put you down or pull you down as well. I have fortunately not seen that in my case, but I know I relate to what your question is, and I've seen it with other people in some form or the other. Like I do that in the reverse. So I know a lot of people who think of themselves as personal brands, and they either tell me that in so many words, or they don't tell me and expect me to presume that they are personal brands and ask me for advice. So I always played the role of being a constructive critic or advisor, and I tell people the good and the bad, and I pull down people without hurting them and letting them know that I'm pulling you down so you do things in a certain way and right. Or I really praise people saying, wow, you do this in a completely interesting way that doesn't make itself look like in your face and make yourself look like a wannabe personal brand. So I think these are challenges people will face, finding the right people to advise you and tell you the truth. And that's the case across the board, whether it's politics, business, civil society, films, or sports. When people become personal brands, they need to find that person who will tell them things honestly without battling an eyelid. And that's important. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. And what are some of the aspects that you gained or lost while you went about this journey?
Again, difficult to say that because I haven't given that a thought ever of what I gained and what I lost. But in the last 2 years, like I told you, I've had 2 almost permanent mentors in the last 10 years of my work journey, and I've had 1/3 mentor who is not a fixed person. There are a variety of those people. I go to them only when I'm confused with these 2 people. If both of them are saying different things, which sometimes happens, then I go to the 3rd person, which can be anybody else. Otherwise, I usually get the similar feedback from these 2 people, then I'm sorted. So one of these 3rd type of mentor, which is not a fixed permanent mentor, but there are a bunch of people I look up to, had advised me a couple of years ago saying, hey, Amit, I've seen how you do praxis. I've seen how you run some programs. You do it well, but I think you do it also to make everybody happy, which is ultimately the goal. He said, that's not going to do you good in the long term. And maybe he had a point of view. It's a he who told me this, and he said, my advice is it's now time to take certain stands, so take certain calls, and doesn't matter if you rub somebody the wrong way, doesn't matter if you make some enemies on the way, It's okay. It means you're doing certain things right if there are people who don't like what you're doing. And I didn't take that advice completely in a serious manner. But yes, I took some steps in the spirit of that advice, and I've done certain things in the last 2 years where there are people I know, there can be some people who don't like what I do or don't like me at all, which is fine. And I've lived with that. At least two years back, I lived with the fear that, oh, I shouldn't do anything that makes somebody hate me. And there have been people who could hate me or hate anybody. But now I don't care beyond a point because I say I'm doing the right thing. It doesn't matter. You always have people to pull you down. You'll have haters when you do certain things, and that's something to keep in mind.
That's very interesting perspective. I mean, knowing that you need to stick to your stand and do what you think is right. So I think that's a great approach.
Yeah.
If you were to give advice to someone who's starting out from scratch, or at least thinking about their personal brands now, even if they are probably quite matured in their journey, what would that be?
So I would go back to what I said earlier in this conversation and put them into 4 quadrants. I would say the first quadrant is to find your mentors very clearly. If you don't have a mentor, it's okay. But if you have a mentor, it makes half the journey that much more easier. The second is the 2 C's I spoke of, consistency and causes. I think important to pick up that one cause that remains close to you, you're passionate about, you're driven by that cause, and then be consistent about that cause. It can't be just a fly-by-night operation. It has to be consistent. It has to go on for a year or 2 or beyond. The third is to use communications, again a third C, but social media is easy. Use 1 or 2 of the social media tools available between Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. These are 4 I respect and think in different ways as useful. Use any 2 of them to help you. So start with a mentor, consistency and causes, use social media. And the 4th thing is just do the right things, be yourself, use these 3 very, very appropriately and judiciously, do the right things and it will flow.
Got it. And if you reflect on your journey, is there, if you had an opportunity to change something that you have done before, what would that be?
So not really. Again, I didn't do too many things with major planning. Yes, I did certain things with some goal setting. I set goals for myself every year or 2 generally in life to just look at my progress, look at my happiness, look at achieve certain things I set for myself. Not in the personal branding sphere, to be honest. Yeah, I think last year in 2019, I was 39 years old. I'm 40 now. And I told myself that I need to do 3 or 4 things last year that I didn't do for many years before that. And I did those things. There were a variety of things. Like, for example, I would meet the same people again and again until 2018, except at a praxis or an event, I met some new people. So last year I told myself that every week for 52 weeks, I'll try and meet one new person for coffee or lunch physically. While the consistency was slightly in disarray, which meant it didn't happen every week, but over 52 weeks, I met 52 people. So there was 1 month I never met anybody new, but 1 month I met 8 people to make up for the previous month. And all this was, I'm talking of strictly in India. I mean, I traveled overseas, and these are people who I knew on social media, and I didn't meet physically ever before. So from January 1st week until December 3rd week, I met 52 new people, and that was a journey in itself. I recorded that using the hashtag 52 new people on Twitter, and each time I met a new person, I put his or her handle and picture and put that there. And for me, that was like a interesting personal branding journey, and not to do anything else. It was, my goal was either he or she I meet should learn something from me, I should learn something from him or her, or both of us learn something, and that happened. I haven't had time to put a article, column, or blog on the 52 learnings, but someday I will go back to that list and write one thing I learned from each of these 52 people during that meeting or thereafter, and it will be a very interesting collection of thoughts if I put that together.
Absolutely, yeah, I know that'll be that's quite an interesting exercise, and it takes a lot of dedication and commitment to make sure that you meet these people.
Yeah.
So what's your recipe for if it's in a one line, if you were to summarize, what's your recipe for personal branding success? Or mantra, so to speak?
I don't have an exact line there, but I'll say something that has always occurred to me as an important aspect of being able to figure out you're doing things right. I think I mentioned this to you in an offline conversation in the past. I look at my success in 2 ways. One is personal success immediately on a daily basis. Do I get sleep in less than 80 seconds after I hit the bed and my head hits the pillow? If I've done that, yes. There's no way to measure that, but are you thinking, keeping awake too long? No. You fall off, go to sleep, close your eyes, and sleep comes. Second is, do I sleep for 7 to 8 hours every day? Most days, yes, I do. There's that one off day when I work very late in the night. I make up for that over the weekend, but that's personally. Second is, I see, am I able to publicly touch many more lives? Am I able to empower others who work closely with me to be leaders in their own right? Yes, if the answer is I'm able to have 3 or 4 or 5 people emerge as leaders and doing the things I was doing earlier and doing it right. I think that to me is success. And for me, personal branding is just that at the end of the day. That my personal brand to myself, am I honest to myself? Am I getting those 8 hours of sleep that convinces me that I'm happy and I'm mentally healthy? One. And am I seeing people shining, doing well because I chose to let them shine and empower them to do things that I was doing earlier? If the answer is yes to both, I think I'm doing certain things right without even bothering about the personal brand here. And that's, in a nutshell, my personal branding mantra.
Fantastic, fantastic. And right now we're going through this pandemic, and there are so many crises happening. What's your advice for personal brands? How should they maintain themselves? What should they do in these kind of scenarios?
Right. So now more than ever before, those 4 quadrants I put together, the quadrant of the 2 C's of causes and consistency, finding the mentor. If you haven't found one, now's the time to find one if you can. The third is communicating what you stand for. And to some extent, ensuring that what you do touches lives, makes people happy is important to continue.
Got it.
And if you want to be a personal brand, you haven't begun that journey yet, you can begin that now. Now is an easy time to begin because everything is largely equal. Earlier, a personal brand meant you went and showed up at events, you went and showed up at gatherings, you went and showed everybody your presence, and that's a way of building a personal brand. Also, now you can't do that with social distancing and self-isolating or whatever you do. So all that you can do is online through a video conference or through your tweets or through your write-ups. Do that. If you haven't begun writing, start writing. I think an easy way to be a personal brand is to use social media to showcase your writing and share your process there. That's an easy way to do it. And that's my advice to anybody who wants to be a personal brand. Use writing as a great tool to become a personal brand, or use speaking, which means be a keynote speaker, join a professional speakers association and see what you can benefit from there. Do such things that makes you a personal brand in the long term.
Fantastic. That's great advice. And as we wrap up, the last question is about, there are a lot of youngsters out there, and millennials and Gen Z, and what is your advice for them?
My advice for them is, I was lucky to be growing up in the 80s and 90s. They are even luckier to be growing up in the 2000s and later. My only advice is respect discipline, because all the things I told you about personal branding need one thing that binds them together, that is discipline. Even if you don't want to be a personal brand as a millennial and you don't care, I think discipline is an important factor both for your personal life and professional life to succeed. Because one thing I see lacking in many youngsters these days is discipline. And the reason for that could be a lot of distractions, a lot of digital interventions in people's lives that control them more than they did in our lives, our times in the 80s and 90s. So I think embrace discipline completely and make that your personal mantra before you want to become a personal brand.
Great.
It's very simple. Just putting certain building blocks for your day, for your week, for your month, and sticking to them. That's discipline, right? It's not difficult.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Amit. I think these are fantastic insights. I'm sure it'll be really well received by our viewers. So thank you again for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thanks again for having me. Appreciate you inviting me to this conversation, Anisu, and all the best to you.
Thank you so much.